Hello friends, it's Annette from Stampin' with the Bees, and I am doing a blog post called The Colors of Fall, and I just thought I would do a quick little video to kind of demonstrate it. It's a lot easier than typing out all those instructions. Anyways, I'm going to use this stamp set called Celebrate Sunflowers. There's dies that cut out the flowers and the leaves as well. And what I did was I took the large flower. I stamped it on Cherry Cobbler, Cajun Craze, and Bumblebee. And so it was like Bumblebee on Bumblebee, Cajun Craze on Cajun Craze, Cherry Cobbler on Cherry Cobbler. And so I did a full sheet, 8.5 out of 11, kind of like, create your own DSP kind of thing. And then I I cut strips off, and the strip is 3.5 inches wide, or I'm not going to try and do centimeters, so 3.5 inches wide and 4.25 inches long. So that's the main piece, and I did that with all the colors, so I have like one from every color. And then I cut myself a piece of soft suede that is 3 5/8 by 4 5/8. So I cut that, and then I have a vanilla card base standing by as well. And so what I did was I took all 3 of the strips and I lined them up together, and I brought out my mini trimmer just because it's easier and it's handy and all that business. And then what did I do? So then I opened it up, and I'm holding all 3 of them together tightly, and I'm going to slice it so that this side is longer and this side is shorter, so that there's like an angle. So like so. And probably if you use your trimmer, it'd be easier to cut. Well, I don't know if it's easier to cut through 3 things. And so I'm going to keep them in order. And I kind of went out like this for the second one. Like so. And then I only did it 4 times, so then I'm going to go like this for the last one. And just have to even that up a little bit here. And then we'll slice that down there. So like that. And then what I thought would be cool would be to take the 3 sections and then kind of change them up a little bit. So like if this was my top yellow, my top cherry, and my top Cajun, maybe it would be fun to kind of put the Bumblebee here and the Cajun, or the Cherry Cobbler here and the Cajun here, and then just keep swapping it out. So like I'll put that one there, that one there, that one there, and then bookend it, I guess, with the same color that I started with at the top. Or you could switch it up even more kind of thing. But that's kind of that was my thought process. And I thought, well, that looks okay, but there's like a technique out there where you do this kind of thing and then you stamp on the individual pieces, and I kind of thought it would be cool to sponge around the edges. So I kind of have a few of them already sponged so that you wouldn't have to watch me sponge every single one. I didn't do this one because I thought I should at least demonstrate it with one. So here's my Bumblebee ink. And for anybody who's never sponged before, you just get your sponge dauber and you kind of go around the edge. Like so. And you just get some darker color on there, and it looks really cool. So same thing, we're sponging with Bumblebee on Bumblebee, Cajun Craze on Cajun Craze, Cherry Cobbler on Cherry Cobbler. So there. So those are my pieces. So I already did all the other spongy just because I didn't want the video to be super long, and this way you can sort of get a gist of what I'm doing kind of thing. So I just put the post-it notes there to sort of hold my sections together. So I'll set these ones aside. I'm only going to make one card, but just so you know, like, you can make, and I still have, you know, I still have tons more, so I could make, how many cards can I make? Because I can do 2 more strips here. So that's, and I get 3 cards every time I do one. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 8. So I'm going to get 18 cards out of 3 pieces of cardstock. Well, more because I'm going to need my brown and my vanilla, of course. But so we'll set those out of the way. And then what I thought was the brown, or the soft suede, is slightly bigger so that I can put a crack between each piece. And I can put on my, and I have an edge all the way around. So I'm going to put the bumblebee on here first. And I'm a wet glue person, but if you are a tape runner or seal user, then you do you. There, I'm going to do the top one next. And then it's easier, if you do the top one next, then it's easier to try and make your other spacing be similar, if you know what I mean. Even, get it even. Because you've sort of already got these two to sort of bookend it, kind of thing. So, because I just thought the color, I thought a lot of people would probably do leaves for this, and I've been doing a lot of leaves myself lately. Oh, that's not very even. Okay, it's gonna stay where it is. And so I thought that the sunflowers were also very fall, and if you Google sunflowers, they actually come in a variety of colors. Okay, we're really scooching over here far, and like the liquid glue gives me that wiggle room. This one here I didn't really, but where there's gonna be other things on top anyways, so it'll be fine. And then the plan was that this is gonna go in the middle of my card, sort of thing, like so. And then I also, while I was madly stamping all over the place, I also stamped the smallest flower all over, and then colored them. And so I have little stacks of flowers that I have colored. So these will go with any, because I was thinking I might do one where it's like all yellow, all red, etc. And then there's a Cajun craze. So there's like, this one here is, man, maybe I should color one flower for you. Do you think? Yeah, maybe we will. That's kind of why I picked that piece up. So, these ones are easy because this is just dark cherry cobbler, light cherry cobbler, Calypso coral, which is the lighter, the dark Calypso, and then I use the dark and the light Cajun to sort of do the middle. But I'm going to do this one because, and then yellow is like Daffodil and Daffodil. So I'm going to do this one because it's the most sunflowery kind of color, in my opinion. So, nope. Daffodil would be, there's my Daffodil. And then I'm going to get out the Cajun craze. And I don't think I actually use the, well, I might use the dark for the center. So I start with my light Daffodil. And which one should I color? You can see the best. I'm just going to color all the petals with yellow. And I'm not really, if I don't get close to this edge, I'm not so worried. I just want to get these points done. And this Daffodil marker has seen better days. I think actually I used it, and if I go over the edge, again, it's going to get die cut, and if it's a little over the edge, and maybe I should turn it around and use the other end so I can get up into those points a little better. I just like to put the majority of the color on with the brush because it goes a little faster, you know. We'll get my points all. And like everybody is different when it comes to blends. I'm a light, like I'm actually, I go both ways. It depends on what I'm coloring. I go dark to light and light to dark. So then these back petals would have a little bit of shadow on them. So I'm going to put the darker daffodil there, because they would have that shadow from the leaf in front of it. And you would have a shadow because you're overlapped. Okay, and then these ones I'll just maybe sort of do a couple lines because Stampin' Up! Has provided these lines for us, so we'll just color a little bit of that, and then I'm going to get the light Cajun. No, before I do that, I'm going to get the yellow here again, and I'm going to blend some of the dark into the light, just so that there's no hard lines. Okay, and then I'm going to get the Cajun, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to put a little bit where the shadow would be, like sort of lower down. And these ones I'm going to, and they're all going to get a little bit around the lines as well. That's kind of what I did. Edge, and then we'll come back with the daffodil again and do some blend. And actually maybe we should go a little bit with the dark. Just on the back petals, because that's where they're a little darker. And then we'll come in with the light to do the majority of the front petals, but I'm just going over the whole thing. I can't hurt the back petals by using the light. And then I'm trying to make sure, see how some of the edges, the tips are lighter? I'm kind of trying to leave that. I just don't want to have that sort of harsh line, and I think I actually do not have that harsh line. And then I'm going to take the light Cajun, and I'm going to color in my center here. And if you're not comfortable with the brush tip, don't worry about it. Once upon a time I was a painter, and everything's a brush tip with a painter. And so like the leaves are here, so I'm going to assume the darker shadow from the flower would kind of be at this edge. And then I'm going to come back in here, and I'm going to shade it, but I'm not going to go all the way around because I kind of want that lightness. Well, yeah, it's going to dry up good. And then the other part is the leaves, and I just took the old olive, and see, this is where I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to take the dark, and I'm going to draw the lines, and I'm going to make the shadows a little darker closer to the petals. And then I'm going to come in with the light and swirl. So you go in a circular motion to blend, but if you don't get it totally blended, it's not that big a deal because you want to see those pronounced lines on the leaves anyways. And then that's my flower. Whoop, that's my flower. Just so that you can sort of see how I colored it. So let's get these out of the way. Get this, and like when you're coloring with blends, I feel like I need to tell you this, they like to soak through, so don't do it on your good dining room table. Like put down some scrap or get some grid paper, whatever, because you're gonna regret it if you make a mess of your table. So I'm not gluing this down yet on purpose, and I sort of thought I would do like 3, but I kind of wonder if I could get away with 1, but my rule of 3 is kind of, maybe I could get away. No, I think I'm going to get away with 1. Yep, and I think he has to go this way because his leaves are going that way, and then we need to stamp a sentiment. And I thought I had a scrap. Oh, I do have a scrap piece of vanilla right here. So we'll pull back that stamp set, and we're going to pull out. It's got a few, but I'm going to pull out the one that says "Let's Celebrate You" because I think that one would be good. You know what though? Maybe No, I'll do it. Because I'm thinking it would be a good birthday card. And Let's Celebrate You, honestly, is kind of like a happy birthday. Now, where's all my long... Oh, right there. I was going to say, where's all the long ones? And I'm going to pull out espresso instead of black, just because my card has a lot of brown on it. And then I'm not worried about where I stamp it because, or how I stamp it, because I'm going to cut around it. If you don't like to do that, then just cut your rectangle, but I just thought it would be, and actually I'm going to use the better scissors. So I'm just going to go around the letters. And the trick to fussy cutting is to move the paper. I think I move the scissors and the paper, but move the paper more than you move the scissors, and you'll get more success. And don't be discouraged, because it's one of those things that takes a little bit of practice. And oh, see, like there, I went really close to the celebrate, and I'm gonna, or the C, and I'm gonna cut this off because it'll impede my elbow here. Same thing, just get her out of the way. And there we go. I'll set this over here on my cleaning, on my chamois, just to, we might be able to use those scraps. Okay, so we'll bring the card back in. I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of my flower. And I'm going to take my bone folder, actually, and I'm going to curl up my leaves just a little bit. And maybe the edges of some of my petals will do the same thing. And my sunflower won't be too dimensional. It'll have a little bit of shape. I'm going to bring in my linen thread, and I'm going to do like a double bow. And this one's getting towards the end, so my linen thread is super curly, which I love. Now I'm going to make my bow not be humongous, and maybe make them slightly like I got two different lengths kind of my loops. Okay, so the flower goes down. I didn't glue this down because I was thinking I was going to go around, and now I've completely changed my mind, because I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to put it here so that my sentiment will cover up sort of my boo-boo here. So I'm going to glue this down now. And center it as best I can, top to bottom, right to left. And my border right to left is not the same as my border top to bottom, just because of my measurements. And then my bow's sort of going to go across here, and my sentiment is going to go sort of, oh, maybe we'll bring you down here and we'll go there. But we're going to have to put some mini dimensionals, so if I lay this here, I know right where to put my minis. If they would have kept their, yeah, see, the sticky part is coming off the top for some reason. See See, and that's exactly the right size. So we'll get rid of this one and this one. And then we're going to put a dab of glue here. And flip, oh, hang on though. Pause. We're going to grab a glue dot right here. And we're going to stick this down under the flower like the plan was. And then we're going to take the sentiment. We're going to keep it on the card. So I'm watching this edge over here. And then we're going to stick it on the flower. Maybe hold it for like a half a second. That part is a little bit dead, isn't it? I don't know if I could do my pencil trick with this. It's too short. But I'll wrap it around a pencil and just kind of hold it there for a minute. You get a little bit of that curl back. Sort of. Okay, so then we will fold the card. Oh dear. Fold that in half and burnish that edge really well. And then what I like to do, and the inside of my card is looking pretty sad because I seem to have a lot of ink in there. But normally what I would do, so we'll just ignore that. But what I would do is I would take my, actually, but if I take my flower, I'll want to color it, and I don't want the coloring to show on the outside. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these. This is the emptier glue, and I'm going to stick it in here, sort of as my flower, and then this is where I could put like a happy birthday. Do I have a happy birthday that's handy from another set? That one didn't have happy birthday on it. And I thought I had a happy birthday actually on a block, but I think, nope, that one's sympathy. Happy birthday. Alright, bear with me for a second. This one. I always choose this one because it has really pretty happy birthday. It has pretty font. This one here, Blossoms in Bloom. It's a pretty font. So I'm going to pull this happy birthday here. And I think what I'm going to do to make it a little bit interesting on the inside, a little bit more interesting, and it's just kind of a technique to show you, is I'm going to take this sunflower and I'm going to grab Sahara Sand because it's nice and light, and I'm going to stamp off. So far I've kept this grid sheet clean, so I'm going to stamp off there, and then I'm going to put this here, sort of really pale, and then I'm going to bring the espresso back and put my happy birthday there. Ta-da! And because the card has a little bit of speckles and whatnot, I'm going to grab my Cajun Craze Stampin' Right marker, and I'm going to do a little bit more spritz on it, and then it won't make a difference because it'll look like my card was meant to have that on there. Ta-da! So now it looks like it was meant to be, right? So there. So there's my card for the colors of fall. I hope you enjoyed, and please continue on and hop along and see what everybody else has created on this blog hop. I should bring this, and that's Celebrate Sunflowers. And I'll have like the colors and some of the measurements in the thing. I just didn't want to have to try and, you know, explain how to cut all that stuff out, because that wording would have been baffling. Okay, let's get the actual stamp set on screen, and there's the card. And yeah, thanks for joining me, and enjoy the hop. Thanks.